Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha and the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed, Shlita. We begin a new week of study. I hope everyone had an enjoyable Simchas Purim, considering the circumstances in the world about us. I think we did a pretty good job of finding the right balance, and perhaps there are those in our audience who are still celebrating Shushan Purim in places like Yerushalayim or HaKodesh, and wishing you all a Freilichen Purim. So we continue, again, to dedicate our learning. We should daven for Chayalei Tzva Haganah Yisrael, Refuah Shalema L'Am Yisrael, Chol Am Yisrael, freeing of all of our hostages, and again, dedicating our learning in memory of Daniel Shimon ben Harav Daron Visheli, Hashem Yikom Dumo. Kasher Atas Hashem Nidchasa, so as we discussed last time, overtures of peace, but when that fails, then you have to go to war. War is rough. War is cruel. Kain ta'asel lechol ha'arim harechokos mimecha ma'od asher lo me'arei ha'gim ha'il ha'hena rak me'arei ha'amim ha'il asher shem lekecha noisen lechana nachala lo sichayeh kol neshama. Psukim in Devarim that discusses the difficulty of going to war. You have to kill all the males, and you have to spare the women and the children, and in terms of what you could take as spoils, and how far you have to go in battle, and you have to make sure that you finish the job. So if you ask the question, especially in today's world when we're so sensitive to everybody's feelings, why do you have to kill all the males, all the Canaanim? There are two reasons. When it comes to war, we have to win in an absolute and decisive, victorious manner. She'im lo kain, for if this is not the case, bivadai tavo ma'aracha nosefes shetisakein shuves kiyumenu. Because if you allow the enemy to survive, then the opportunity will arise, the situation will arise, where they will further threaten our existence. Umi yodea ma'iyeh sofa, who knows what will happen in the end. V'lo zu bilvad, ela she'im hanitzachon lo yeh muchlat, lo nartiu ayavim acharim l'sakein es kiyumenu. And if we show weakness and we don't have absolute victory, what's going to happen to our other enemies? They'll say weakness, and they'll rise up against us, and they could put our existence in danger. V'hakol toli b'minhag ha'olam, and everything depends on the way of the world. Ba'osam hazmanim gam noag ha'manatzachim, v'im Yisrael lo hayu noagin kimikubal hayu kol ha'amim shesavivin yodem shegedali lachem Yisrael she'im yinatzchum atov im yafsidu lo nora. He says, because if other nations back in the time, if they didn't behave in the way that the world's warmongers behaved in such a way, meaning that if you didn't have a decisive victory, people would take advantage of you, and if you didn't win, then they would say, oh, there's weakness and we can conquer them. And if they lost, okay, no big deal. The second reason is mitzad hatzedek ish lahanish harisham sonei Yisrael b'mida keneged mida. From a point of view of justice, we have to punish those wicked people, those who hate us, those who seek our destruction, measure for measure. Whatever they try to do to us, we have to do to them. Of course, we're still in Shushan Purim, and this is exactly what happened in the days of Haman HaRasha. So let me just obviously apply this to today's situation. Again, when the world is telling us that we can't finish the job, we shouldn't finish the job, and it has nothing to do with strategic warfare or anything like that. It's simply because we're the Jewish nation. Any other nation in the world, they wouldn't tell them we can't finish the job. As I said last time, we don't put out 80% of a fire. Because if we don't finish the job with an absolute victory, the enemy will rise up again, and they will try to wipe us out. And you know how I know this? Because they've said so. And Menachem Begin was very famous in saying, when your enemies tell you they want to kill you, believe them because they mean it. Our enemies want to get rid of us, so there's no reason for us to doubt that. So there's certainly then no reason for us to stop ourselves or have anyone stop us from finishing the job. Also, if you want to say mida keneged mida, the atrocities that they afflicted upon our people, they deserve many, many times over. Rav Malamed continues, if we behave this way, this barbaric way, what separates us from the rest of the nations? Hahevda Hukaful, he says the difference is actually double. First of all, anu paschim b'shalom, we start with overtures of peace. We don't sneak up on enemies and attack them. We don't massacre innocent people, women and children. And the second reason is gam la'achar she'anu manatzchim, onu pogem rak k'fi hatzorach v'hatzedek v'lo yoser. When we exercise victory over our enemies, we only do what is necessary. We only do what is just. We don't do more than that. Gam b'yameinu, in our days as well, aleinu l'shofni l'tzachon muchlat. This is in our days also. We have to make sure that there is a decisive and complete victory. Ad kinei asama gemur shel Avinu, until the enemies have completely given in and are completely overcome. Kedei laharsia, kedei laha'anish, so that we can make sure that the exact punishment and the retribution is meted out. Amnam baruch Hashem hayom kvar lo mekabel harag kol zachar. Nowadays, we don't have to kill every male. And of course, now, as we know, it's well documented, the Israeli military making sure not to affect the regular population, the civilian population. So we don't have to do this to our enemies. Cannot say this strongly enough, but we have to make sure that the victory is strong and that it hurts them, it cripples our enemy in a way that they won't be able to come up and rise up against us again. Make sure the punishment is measure for measure. What they plan to do or what they even did in our instance today, ulam ma'avar lazeh ein lasos, but more than this, we don't have to do. So let's just take this musar and this halacha very, very seriously, because this is what we as a Jewish nation need to understand and to focus on and tune out what the rest of the world is saying. We need to finish the battle. We need to have a decisive victory because we're fighting an existential battle. They want to rid us from the planet. And not just the enemies on our borders, but all over the world. There are people that are trying to do this to us. So we need to unite together and we need to figure out how we can help strengthen our brothers and sisters in Israel and make sure that they finish this battle and win a decisive victory. Again, we're not sugarcoating this because those days are over. And it's time for the gloves to come off, and we need to say what needs to be said. And it's just by coincidence, though there's no coincidences, but this is the chapter that we're up to in the period which we're learning. So we'll see you here next time. We're actually going to finish the chapter, move to a new chapter after this tomorrow. But please continue to daven Chalei Tzva Ganei Yisrael for Shalem Al Amei Yisrael, freedom of the hostages, Ilu Nishmas, Seren Daniel, Shimon Ben Harav Daron V'Sheli. Hashem Yakum Damo. Have a good day.